funny guy, and this is his podcast, In the Ride. It's the In the Ride Podcast. Curt Fletcher.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. It's episode 48, In the Ride Podcast with Curt Fletcher. I'm Curt Fletcher. Thanks for tuning in this week. We got a really awesome guest. Super excited to have him on. What's been going on with me? I've been doing some shows. November 3rd, I did a show at Revel here in Albuquerque. And I also got to host the roast battle, which was a lot of fun. Talking shit to all the bad roasters. That was pretty cool. And then November 5th, I did Tractor Brewery. I did Rusty's first Friday comedy contest. I got third place, so I'll be performing there again on December 3rd. That was a lot of fun, too. It was a fun show. Quick little 5-minute set. And then November 9th, I headlined at Brew Lab in Rio Rancho, which was a PG-13 show. There were kids there, and that ended up being a lot of fun, even though doing clean material isn't usually as fun. But we had a great turnout. Some friends came that I hadn't seen in a while, so that was cool. Got to see them and chat with them for a bit, so that was really awesome. And then November 11th, I did a show at Cosmos with my good friend Neil Rubenstein, who was in town. And it's always cool to see Neil. If you haven't seen Neil, go check him out. Check out his website, neilrubenstein.com. He's constantly on the road doing stuff, so super funny guy. And then for shows I got coming up, I got December 3rd at Tractor, like I said. December 9th through the 11th, I'll be at Hyenas in Dallas with Tim Gaither. And December 17th and 18th, I'll be in Peoria, Illinois at the Jukebox Comedy Club with Lindsay Glazer. And then that's it for this year. Besides the open mic I host with Holly Bird, which is coming back November 29th. And then, I got a couple gigs in January lined up as well. This one is not set in stone yet, so I don't know if I should talk about it, but it'll be in Albuquerque, January 8th. And I'll get more details on that. And then January 12th through 16th, I'll be at the Little Rock Looney Bin. And January 19th through the 22nd, I'll be at the Tulsa Looney Bin. And for more info, go to my website, funnyfletcher.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. Got my merchandise on there, things like that. So, that's it for this week. Let's go talk to my guest. My guest is comedian Eddie Stevens, who I've known for a long time and consider him a really good friend, even though I haven't seen him in over a year. So let's go talk to Eddie Stevens. Eddie Stevens, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you look great.
I was going to say I look terrible, but that's you I'm looking at. No, I'm just kidding. There's a tiny image of me. I wish I could see me better. I'm worried. No, you look good. How's it going?
Oh man, I'm doing all right. I am the fattest I've ever been in my life, which isn't good.
Oh, it's not?
I know you can't tell on the podcast, but
I can't. I thought it was perspective.
Yeah.
All I can see is your head. So
oh yeah.
You don't have a fat head.
I don't look too fat, but I stepped on the scale and I weighed 239, and I was like, all right, I gotta do something.
Take your shirt off real quick. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
No, don't. No. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So you got the horse in the background. That's fun.
A lot of people don't have horses in their homes, but I keep one.
I have one really close to me. Yeah.
Emotionally or physically close to you?
Like physically close.
Okay, I'm physically close to this horse, but I have no feelings for it. I don't care. It's not even a real horse. I don't know if you
I think the plan, weren't we going to buy horse masks and then return them and get the money back?
I remember that little scheme. Yeah, because we were all like, I don't want to buy a fucking horse mask for one photo. And then I don't remember what happened, but I know it was all Matt Peterson's fault.
Oh, probably, yeah. I was just like, you know what, I might use this again, and I haven't. Actually, I did once for a photo, but
I've used it a few times, but I don't want to talk about what I was doing. It's not appropriate.
are you
Let's
still
just
doing?
say there's no way I can return it now. What's it? Am I still doing what? God damn it!
They're like, I hope this is glue. It is not.
Could be used as glue.
I guess. Are you still doing your rugby podcast?
Oh yeah, that's really what this whole room you see is for. This is my shed. I'm in my shed, and this is where the magic happens. This is where I record Rugby Ranta Banter.
Okay.
Yeah, just recorded episode 122 today.
Oh wow, that's great.
Sounds like a lot of episodes, but really, it's a weekly podcast. And I don't know how many years I've been doing it, but I should be on like episode 300. There's been a few gaps where I lost the will to do anything, let alone podcast.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I always have. I've had a hard time scheduling people on here. So
Really?
there have been times where it's like I won't have a podcast for like 3 weeks, and then,
see, that's
then
the
sometimes
problem.
it's like it's hard to get motivated after that too to do one.
Right. Well, one of the good things about my rugby podcast is it's just me losing my mind. Whoops.
Yeah.
Just me losing my mind. I don't have to worry about it. Every now and again, I'll have a guest from England through Zoom. You know, I don't fly over or anything. We don't. The Rugby Ranta Banter budget is not that big, to be honest with you.
You'd think so, looking at the studio.
Well, I mean, I got the money. Yeah. But how do you think the studio got built? I can't be spending it on these fucking guests. And then my other podcast that I do with AJ Martinez, we've never had a guest. We don't do guests. So
that's cool.
In fact, half the time I wish he didn't show up. So it's best if it's just the two of us. And then we don't have to worry about anybody showing up or anything like that. Eventually we'll probably have a guest. It'd be you, of course. Yeah. But yeah.
I saw AJ recently. He came to my open mic, and then he performed at a show that we did.
Yeah.
And he performed as Greg Giraldo.
Yeah, that's what he does now. Every show.
He just shows up as Greg Giraldo.
It's really weird. It's the Eddie and Greg podcast that I do with him. It's actually a lot better. I prefer him. Yeah, how did that go? I wasn't there, obviously. I've been doing my thing.
Yeah. That show was really fun.
He said he had a lot of fun. Yeah, he said he loved it.
Yeah, it was funny because it's a lot harder to do another comedian's material than it seems like. Like, I thought it was going to be pretty easy, but it was pretty difficult. And
AJ had said originally he said he was going to do you. He was just going to do all your material.
Oh yeah,
which would have been awesome, but he chickened out.
What a puss.
Yeah.
Everybody ended up going way under their time, so the show ended pretty early. So there were some open micers there, so I was just like, you guys want to do some time, I guess?
Right. Yeah, never a good sign when everybody finishes early. Unless it's an open mic and you just want to leave.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I like those nights. When was the last time you did stand-up?
I was just about to say, I haven't done stand-up since lockdown. I haven't done any.
Yeah.
So I don't know, over a year and a half. It's fun. It's weird. I do think I'll probably do it again at some point. But I got a lot of other shit going on. But I had the weirdest. So I was at a. I probably shouldn't talk about what job I'm going to be doing because it could come back to bite me in the ass. I don't want to get fired if they hear, not on my rugby podcast. But anyway, I was at a training, an orientation thing for this new job I'm getting. And the guy that was instructing us was a really cool guy, really, and quite funny. And at the end, he was doing like a Q&A just for, people that need clarification over certain things. And somebody asked him, he said, "Are you a stand-up?" And he goes, "No, but a lot of people have told me I should." And they're like, "Oh, you'd be so good at it." and I don't know if you can relate to this, because I think this is just one of my own particular psychotic, weird issues. I just started getting angry and bitter. I don't like, even though I haven't performed stand-up in a year and a half, I don't want anyone getting any respect for stand. I'm angry that you're doing shows. I don't want anyone. That's what I really want, is nobody is allowed to perform stand-up comedy. This was extra bad because he was getting applauded for saying that maybe he could do it. And I got this weird ego thing where I don't think that I'm the shit and I don't think I deserve respect, but I demand that no one else gets it if I'm not. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure.
I don't think that's unfair. So I sat there really angry at the end because I couldn't just go, well, I actually did stand up for 10 years and maybe I'll do it again. You don't know. I just didn't want to say it. And then somebody, my girlfriend's friend, my girlfriend told me that her friend was going to do an open mic, and I went, oh, fuck him. And it's like, I don't want anyone starting stand up. So I'd appreciate it if you stop hosting that open mic, Curt, because at least until I'm ready to start performing again.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to discourage the comics as much as possible. The newbies that go up and bomb, I'm like, well, maybe this ain't for you. So
yeah, seriously. Well, that's the thing. I was just being I pissed her off because she's like, oh, but he's really funny. I'm like, yeah, I hear that all the time. And so many people go up to I like to discourage people before they even get to the open mic. I try and talk people out of going. And this was true when I hosted an open mic. I don't want anyone doing it, but it's extra true now. So I'm glad that you're at least stopping them before they really get started.
But when I'm on the road all the time, I hear stuff like that where, people come up to me after a show and be like, oh, my cousin could have been a stand-up. And then it's
I hate it.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, it's a weird
it's
thing
one thing being
where,
funny.
Everybody has been told they should do stand-up, right? Because everybody thinks they're funny.
Yeah.
And everybody has someone who laughs. And anyway, there's two certainties. Everybody has been told they should do stand-up and is considered doing stand-up. And like, people can't see me when they, honestly, this isn't going to be a video podcast, but if they could, I'm jacked.
Okay. No, this is a video podcast.
Oh, let me make myself more comfortable. No, everybody that I speak to used to be jacked. Do you know what I mean? Everybody used to be in great shape. So in stand-up comedy, everybody, no, yeah, you did. Well, you're pretty jacked now. You're certainly the heaviest you've ever been, and I'd like to think that's mostly muscle.
I'd like to think that too.
Yeah, just think it. But no, yeah, everybody's been told they should do stand up, and everybody thinks they used to be jacked. All right, are we done?
Pretty close.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah, it just always bothers me. It's like your cousin can do what I do. I doubt it.
I doubt that. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm glad you said that, and I'm sort of exaggerating how angry it makes me, but I've always had a weird chip on my shoulder when it comes to that. And I think it's true as well, like, because I hosted an open mic for years, and you've hosted open mics, and you just see people, oh God, I do sound like the biggest asshole in the world, but you just see so many people coming up with that have never performed stand-up with the swagger that they're like, I'm the next big thing. Oh, these people think they're good, but I'm the real talent. And then they go up, and 99.99% of the time they eat shit. And that does feel good. But yeah, that's why when people talk about starting stand-up, I have a bit of a roll my eyes thing. But this is, as I say, I'm a huge asshole. Some people have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't.
I know, right? Actually, the scene here right now is actually really, really good, in my opinion.
That's what I heard. That's like, what I heard.
Feel like it's the strongest it's been in a while,
Oh, I'm definitely not coming back now.
Yeah, you shouldn't. It does suck, like, not seeing that, like you and Matt and some people, AJ I hadn't seen in a long time, and Joe Quesada, but they came back recently, which is cool. Yeah. So I do hope you come back and do it, because you've been one of my favorites.
Oh, thanks. Like I said, I'm toying with the idea that the reason that I'm holding back for now is, I started when I was 32, which is
Mhm.
fairly late for starting stand-up. Not that it's ever too late and all those cliches. But I started at 32, married with children, full-time job, and it was a struggle from the get-go just to get to gigs.
Yeah.
And I worked really hard for a while, a long time, probably a couple months, and then no, for a few years. And to be honest, after having everything shut down for that year, and now it being, I don't know if I want to like start all over again. It was like, do you know what I mean? Like I was already, but I mean, we'll see, because I do miss elements of performing. My life's a lot less stressful now, though. Stand-up comedy, it's the most stressful, awesome thing you can do. No, I'll have to go back at some point just to see if I can do it. We'll see.
Well, I hope you do.
Well, I'll need a new horse mask.
Yeah, you can borrow mine.
I said new. I don't want any secondhand. All right, fine. Yeah. But I got all this podcasting I'm doing.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of podcasting. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it does actually, because the way I do my rugby podcast is it's barely even a rugby podcast. It's like 15 minutes of me essentially doing stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
And then really like improvisational open mic level bits. No, just fucking around. And then complaining about rugby for about 45 minutes. But with that, and then the Eddie and AJ podcast, it's not the same as stand-up, obviously, because you don't have a live audience. So it's very, very different. But I do feel like it's better than nothing. I do feel like I hosted a silly trivia night. I did like 3 trivia nights. And not only was it, quite similar to hosting a comedy show, I did slip like straight back into the groove. It wasn't very hard to get back into it. And I think that the podcasting has helped with that. Just talking. As you can see, I can't stop talking now. Yeah,
it's the whole point of a podcast, though.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's I started the podcast last July, just because I didn't have any shows going on really, and I just kind of missed talking to comedians and stuff like that. It's like one of my favorite things about performing is meeting new comics and shooting the shit with them and stuff like that. But yeah, there weren't any shows really, so podcasting has been
did you do much
fun.
And I feel like you probably talked about this a lot on previous episodes. Did you do much like online like Zoom comedy shows and stuff?
I did 3, I think, total. And
how did those go?
They all went well, just because I think my style fits that pretty well.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
So what I did was like I just had like a little notepad on the corner of my computer. I just had all my one-liners written right there, so I could just like read them off pretty much.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty easy. Yeah. I could see where it'd be kind of hard for a guy like you, where you're so animated.
Yeah, and I had some offers, and I didn't do any of them.
Yeah,
it just seemed pointless. Like I said, if I want to, it's essentially like spoken word, like you said. It's not live physical entertainment. So I have my podcast for that anyway. So I didn't see any point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the 3 I did were, pretty fun shows, and there were like some pretty well-known comics on there. So I didn't want to turn it down, and because I gotta watch like a lot of really good comics too. So
that is awesome. Yeah.
And and I just sit here in my underpants and watch awesome comedians.
I knew it.
And that's pretty fun.
You in your underpants right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I need to know, but I do.
Oh. Actually, these are Matt Peterson's underpants.
I feel more relaxed, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yep. Okay.
Man, we still got 30 minutes left.
I should have known.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, I can talk.
Oh no, have you been writing any material at all? Like, do you ever like just come up with something and you're like, I'm gonna jot that down?
Do you know what? Very rarely, as opposed to when I was performing stand-up regularly, because I think it's who was it? Some famous comedian. Might have been Jerry Seinfeld. That's the only comedian I could think of in that second. Who said, you, for every bit you perform that you make money for, and I'm butchering this, but it's basically you owe at least one other person a percentage of all of your money, because most bits you come up with in conversation with other people. So because I have not been in a comedy club setting, I've not been around other comics, I haven't been really speaking to anyone except my children. They're not very funny.
Yeah.
I haven't really, and also I haven't before lockdown. I was working in a brewery, constantly shooting the shit with people, and I've come up with a lot of bit ideas from that. And I haven't really had those opportunities, so it's rare that I come. Every now and again, I'll just think of something, but it's pretty rare, to the point where it's actually been concerning me. Just today, I was thinking about it, because I didn't know what this podcast was going to be, and I thought, for all I know, he's going to want me to do. I was confident you wouldn't, but for all I knew, you were going to say, oh, just do like 5 minutes of stand up to start with. And I was like, I can't even, like, I was trying to remember my old stuff, and it was difficult. And I was like, and I don't really have anything new. And the stuff that I have that is newer, the few things that I've come up with recently, I haven't had any time to craft into anything good. You know, I haven't been able to screw around with it on stage or anything. So now I can't remember what your question was. Oh, am I writing? So yeah, not really. But you know, I got a wild hair up my ass. Is that an expression?
I think so.
I hope so. About 3 or 4 months ago, that I was going to do an open mic, and I just started focusing on stand up, and I started writing, and I came up with a bunch. I took some old material, tweaked it, and I think made it better, and did come up with a couple of ideas. So it's literally just a case of, if I decide to put my mind to it and switch into that mindset of I am a stand-up comedian, I can come up with material pretty quickly, but I just haven't bothered.
Yeah, me too, honestly, which sucks because I'm still doing stand-up. Like, I haven't written a new joke in a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky. I mean, if you're performing regularly, I mean, I have, you know, pages and pages and pages, fucking hundreds of pages of material from the decade that I was doing stand-up, out of necessity, because I was mostly doing the same shows, the same rooms, the same people. So I couldn't like just do what I considered to be my best material. I had to constantly come up with new stuff. You know, for professional comedians like you who are on the road all the time, new audiences, making the big bucks, you don't need to write a shit ton of material necessarily, because you get a fresh audience all the time.
Yeah, which is awesome, and it sucks.
Yeah, but I think it's awesome as long as you have a system in place. You know, I mean, what I would be doing, and what I assume the top comics are doing, is, you know, you go on the road. Well, yeah, this is the system, right? You go on the road with you bring your A game, you go on, you do however many gigs with all of that, then you come back home, and then you start working on new shit for the next year, or, you know. But yeah, it would have been, I don't think I've ever done, I think the closest I've come to just doing the same set, like even 3 or 4 shows in a row, was on the Why the Long Face tour that we went on, where I did a different, you know, totally different crowd, different state even, but I was able to do that. But generally it was always, I mean, half the gigs I did was just local comics there. You got to keep them happy. Can't
yeah.
do them the same old shit.
You don't want the locals talking shit.
No, not with my reputation, whatever that means. Yeah, but I'm gonna start writing more, and I got to at the very least come up with something if I'm gonna start. If I decide to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you do.
Thanks.
And what's like one of your favorite memories from doing stand-up?
I enjoyed. I was going to say something unbelievably fucked up, and I cannot say it now. I enjoyed when AJ Martinez physically assaulted Dan Rascone and crushed him and put him in the bed of a truck, and I think he put a bicycle on top of him. I enjoyed. Good God, I'm trying to actually answer seriously. Best memories of doing stand-up. Really loved that tour that we did. Really enjoyed hosting the show that people are still asking about, by the way, the Turtle Mountain show that I was hosting every month. Most of my memories of stand-up are a mixture of ecstasy and just horror, because I'm the kind of person, like, every show I would have a mini freak out before. And then if I didn't completely annihilate, then there was the rest of the evening to dissect exactly why I was a useless piece of shit. So that's something I don't miss. Look how negative I am. You asked me my favorite memories, and I'm just describing how awful I am as a person. Yeah, I don't know. There's tons of great memories. I definitely like the early days. Like, it was more fun when I was starting out. Partly because there was a really cool, I think, so it would have been 2012, that sort of time period, 2012, 13, 14. There's a lot of really cool comics, decent comics. And I definitely felt like as time went on and I progressed, a lot of good comics left town, and just the vibe changed a little bit. It wasn't quite as fun. And that may well have been just my life as well. I might not have, I definitely was unable, I wasn't putting as much time into it. I can't remember what was I talking about? What did you ask me? This happens to me all the time, by the way. Apparently it's supposed to be a sign of mental trauma. When your memory good. Just like, yeah. I think somebody molested me at some point, but I can't prove it, and I have no memory of it.
Oh,
but it would explain a lot. Definitely not you, although
yeah, definitely not me.
You had a mouth that could suck. You could suck the shit out of an R&B hose. Remember that? Yeah,
I do remember that. I also remember you.
Go ahead. I just remembered something great.
Okay, I remember you throwing a guy into a wall.
Yeah, that was a good time. Speaking of assaulting people, so that was who was on stage at the time? Oh, Smitty.
Smitty was on stage.
This is what when you're on stage, if somebody heckles or causes a problem, it's annoying, but you can kind of handle it because you get to talk shit.
Yeah.
It's actually more stressful if you're in the crowd having to witness it. And especially if it's your friend on stage and like somebody's like, somebody just, and that was just a drunk idiot. And I actually regret doing it, but I was just in a really bad mood and someone tried to get on stage and I threw them over a drum set. But speaking of assaulting people, one of my all-time favorite memories was when we were in Santa Fe, you, me, Matt Peterson. In fact, maybe Keith was there, but do you remember we were taking a picture and oh no, it was you and Matt Peterson assaulted you. Matt Peterson put his arms in the air and then pulled his elbows back and elbowed you in the face so fucking hard that you couldn't even take it I just saw rage in your face. I really thought that you and Matt Peterson were going to fight, and I was crying with laughter.
I was about to.
I know what that's like. Yeah, I know. And this is the thing. If you get hit in the head hard enough, you just, it like flicks a switch, doesn't it?
Oh, for me, it's if I get hit in the nose at all, I
Yeah.
am fucking.
Well,
I
look at the
usually
state
just
of my
start. I
nose.
usually start throwing blows.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
thought it was
happened
gonna
with. So I had a bully for 3 years in middle school,
Oh,
and one day he came over because I stole his new bicycle and took it
Well,
apart.
he was
Yeah.
your bully.
He bullied me.
Bullying
Yeah.
you.
He
But you
bullied me.
stole his
So
bicycle.
I stole his bike.
Took it
and
apart.
Took it apart.
Now this was payback. That's why you did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I threw it like piece by piece in the woods behind my house. And he came to my house and asked where his bike was. And so I took him back there. I was like, here it is. And he punched me in the nose, and I just fucking snapped and beat the shit out of him.
Oh my God.
And then we're friends after that.
Were you really? It's a cliche, but it happens.
Oh, yeah.
It happens all the time.
Uh-huh.
You get respect for each other.
Yeah.
Wow, I'd love to hear his side of the story.
Oh, yeah. I should ask him.
This little son of a bitch stole my bike, took it apart, and finally kicked my ass in the woods.
I think that guy's done so much meth in his life, he probably doesn't even remember now.
Oh God. That went dark.
I'll ask him.
Are you still friends with him?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. He actually came to one of my shows 2 years ago, and he was heckling me, and one of my friends pulled a knife on him.
He's still bullying you. This is a true story.
Yeah. Well, he was heckling me, and I told him, I was like, dude, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna owe this place a new window.
Wow. He didn't learn his lesson the first time. It's funny though, I always tell people, like, another thing people always say if they find out you're a comic is, oh, I'm going to heckle you, right? Mm-hmm. People would always say to me, I'm going to come and heckle you. And I'm like, it's, at least in my experience, heckling is unbelievably rare, you know? I mean, sometimes someone will shout something out, but like proper heckling where someone's making your set impossible is, I think it's only happened to me once ever.
Really?
But I think because people see it on YouTube, there's the entire like montages of people being heckled. A lot of people think it is like part of comedy, and it isn't, or it shouldn't be. But at least that's my experience.
Well, you're also, you look like you could beat the shit out of anyone.
No, well, but even like when other people are performing, I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's
maybe I just
I guess that's true. I mean, it happens, when I'm at clubs and stuff. It's almost always women, drunk women. They love to heckle.
Yeah, and the one time that I've actually dealt with proper heckling was a group of women. Yeah. Ugh.
And they never heckle at the right time. They always mess up the joke. They'll always just chime in at the worst part, and then you can't go back and start the joke over because it just doesn't have the same punch.
This is why I think women should be banned from all the comedy clubs, but no one seems to be with me on this.
Dude, let's start a petition.
Or start a men's only comedy club. Oh my God, this is terrible. Let's not upset people.
Yeah, I'm sure I have a lot of women watching this.
You don't think so?
I have like 3 viewers. I don't know. I guess one of them could be a woman.
So they do actually see this. I thought you were joking when you said they see you put the video out there.
That's not weird. Actually, it's probably one of the views is me like copying pasting the thing into my website, and then another view to copy and paste it onto Facebook.
Wow, is it just on Facebook? Would you put it on YouTube?
I put it on YouTube, yeah.
Okay, I want to find this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tear it down too. I was not aware. See, now I can't see myself. Really? It doesn't matter. Let's move on. Okay, there we go.
Are those
what if I got all shy now that I knew people were looking at me?
That's how I get. Then I think about it, I was like, man, people are watching. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not live though.
No, like I
Okay.
can edit out all that stuff you said about women.
Yeah, and all the stuff I said about the Jews. Please edit that out.
Well, we got to edit it in first. You haven't said anything.
Oh, I can't keep track. I say so many things. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. I never said anything about Jews.
Not yet.
That is true. No, and I won't.
Okay. So I guess I got to cross off this next question about the Holocaust.
You know my views.
Man, that was going to be a big closer, but whatever.
Huh.
Do you do live when you do your rugby podcast and stuff? Do you do that live?
No.
No.
Not only do I not do it live, it generally takes me 5 or 6 takes before I get going. Because it's just such a weird podcast. And when it's just you by yourself, it's just, I always find I get in my own head to start with, because I have a vague idea. I don't want to plan it out too much. It's not like I'm doing everything like from a script, but I have a vague idea of what I want to talk about. And invariably, the first time I'll stutter and say something dumb, and I'll get rid of it. Like I said, I'll usually delete it 5, 6 times before I get going. And there have been some times where I've had to just take out huge chunks of it because it's just unlistenable garbage, in my opinion. There's a big segment of my rugby podcast. If anyone's interested, I do not every episode, but a lot of the episodes I end with gay, erotic gay fiction, rugby fiction. So I'll go onto one of those websites that you're into, and then I'll find like gay rugby, and I'll just read the most. I've yet to be able to complete it. Now, look, I'm not homophobic, far from it. I think it's great, but can you still hear me? Lost you. Oh, you're back. Did you hear everything I said? Can you hear me?
No. Yeah,
Damn
I did
it.
hear the part where you said you're not homophobic.
And which usually when someone says that, of course, they follow up by saying, but I just think it's wrong that they do it. But no, I was going to say, but there's some really disgusting. I'll send you the link. But if anyone's interested, just subscribe to Rugby Rant to Banter, and then any episode, just fast forward to the last sort of 5-10 minutes, and it's nasty. And the funny thing is, it's probably the most popular part of the podcast, which says something about the listeners or something about me and how bad the rest of it is. But I get angry messages when there's no gay rugby fiction.
Yeah, I can see that.
I say fiction. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I bet your accent and your voice reading that stuff is probably pretty awesome.
I don't know. All my listeners are from England, so the accent to them is just a weird.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's not any Englishness in my accent is lost on them, and they just hear me as some weird Australian sounding awful person. So, but I mean, I do different voices for the porn,
Okay.
Try to get
can
into
you
it as
can
much
you
as I
give me
can.
an example of a couple of the voices?
Well, yeah, I can. And for a while, the first time I did it, for no reason, it was a pirate porn, cabin boy porn. So it's like, I'm going to give you a jolly good rogering and no mistake. Oh, please, sir, don't fuck me. It's stuff like that. And then so for a while, there were rugby players who sounded like pirates. But there's all of this, you'll see all of this erotic fiction. There's always one little beta bitch. Oh my goodness. And actually, now that I think about it, I think that's what turns me off. That's what makes me have to stop, is the way that I interpret it. I'm realizing it's probably more how I say it that is disgusting and offensive. I said too much.
I don't think you said enough. I think
I know, but I'm, I don't like how much you're doing what I'm saying. So let's move on from that.
Okay. Well,
It's making me feel quite queer.
I forgot to tell you about the last segment of my podcast.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is that you stole my idea.
Not quite. It's not rugby. It's men's volleyball.
Okay. Mud volleyball?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Is your podcast pretty popular? Do you know how many listeners you get?
So it's popular enough that okay. So the way that I podcast is a very strange blend of cutting costs and masochism. Like I feel like if I explained it to you or anyone else who has a podcast, you would just be like, why in God's name would anyone want to do that? Okay. But one of the ways that I do it is I go through this podcast editing app called Messy.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally called Messy Bun, and now it's called just Messy.fm. And for the most part, it's terrible. Like it causes me so many problems, but it's no longer free. But I started when you could do it for free, and I think I'm kind of like grandfathered in. I think that's what the expression is. So I don't have to pay. But there's just problem after problem after problem. I've lost entire episodes because of some bullshit with Messy. But the reason I stick with it is it gives me a lot of freedom for editing, and I do a lot of editing. Like I put in a lot of different sound files,
and
sound effects.
You just do music. Audio only?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the reason I mention all that is I could get the analytics. I could find out how many listeners I have, but I have to pay for it, and I refuse to pay. So I don't know. I do know that, it's actually been a while since this has happened, so maybe I've gone downhill, but for a couple of years, at least once a month, I'd get a message or an email from someone always from England, telling me how much they like the podcast. And it happened enough and I get enough interaction on social media for it that I think I got a decent following. But this is in a strange little microcosm of podcasting, Rugby Podcast. It's not, you can be a successful rugby podcaster and you probably only have, I couldn't even put a number on it, but wouldn't make any money for it. It's not making me any money. Bothered, like trying to get sponsors and stuff. Maybe I could have by now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, it does okay. That's for sure.
That's great. I remember you telling me about it when you were starting out and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool, even though I've only watched one rugby match in my entire life.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I probably started it for the right reason. I didn't start it to get tons of listeners or make money or any of that shit. Mm-hmm. It was purely because I had a passion for talking about it. Mm-hmm. Didn't have anyone I could talk to about it here because you can't talk to you about it. Yeah. Nobody really here I could talk to about it. So I was like, I'll record it, put it out there, and see if people who do like rugby agree with what I'm saying. Because I was just wandering around muttering to myself about it for the last 20 years, Do you hear that? I think I can hear a rooster. Anyway. Yeah, and it's fun. I like doing it.
That's awesome, man. Is rugby like a year-round sport?
No, there's a season. I forget exactly when it starts and ends. What is that noise? Can you hear that? Good God, it's horrible. Okay, I'm going to ignore it. By the way, this happens to me all the time, podcasting in my shed. There was an episode of Rugby Rant to Banter where there's a cricket in the shed, and you could hear it on the podcast, and it was driving me insane. And there's a big chunk of it where I'm just tearing the shed apart to find this cricket. Mm-hmm. I found the cricket, threw it out, sat down, continued the podcast, and then there was another fucking cricket. was amazing. Like crickets don't get the respect they deserve in comedy. Usually they're thought of as the hecklers, right, of the insect world. But actually, this cricket had amazing comedic timing. I'm doing that thing again when my brain shut down. What was I saying?
You're talking about crickets?
Before that. That's a different sport. I was talking about rugby.
Rugby.
Oh fuck, who cares?
Yeah, I think I asked you about the season length or something.
Oh, the season. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, I think we're 8 weeks into the new season. It's a bit weird because depending where you are in the world, the seasons start at different times. But with English rugby, which is all I care about, I think it starts sort of September-ish. It's like a winter sport. And they're discussing change that some people want it to be changed to a summer sport because obviously you can get a more attractive game if there's not mud everywhere. But to people who know rugby, part of the appeal sometimes is, running around in the mud, getting messy. And if you listen to the end of my podcast, doing all sorts of awful things in the mud.
That would suck in the summertime.
Yeah, too much chafing.
Yeah.
Too much sweat.
That's how I feel about American football. I love that it's in the wintertime because, if you get a shit ton of snow, that could affect the outcome of the game. And it's just, it's more fun that way,
Yeah. Oh, and I think the way they do it, doing it in the winter the way they do, starting in sort of September, they still got some nice sunny days. You get to see some exciting stuff, but then the weather, and that's the argument against changing it to the summer, is the weather was always intended to be a part of the game and like adapting to conditions. So I think you're right. I think it is more fun to have to see teams play in the mud and the snow and the rain, and then sometimes it's bone dry and you get to see a different style. So
I could never watch football in the summertime. I think that'd be weird, Like, I grew up in Iowa and it starts getting cold in September, so I always associate that with football.
That's cool. I know. I noticed that I get like, what's this seasonal adaptation syndrome or something, where some people get really depressed when the weather changes, when you start getting into sort of autumn. And I've noticed that every sort of September, I get really anxious and nervous. But I don't think it's a reaction to the seasons per se. I think it's just from years of that's when the rugby season would start. So I think I'm conditioned to thinking, I have to now, from when I played, like now I have to get my body fucked up, I think. But I still managed to fuck my body up.
How long did you play rugby?
Well, it was very sporadic. So I played him like as a child in England growing up. And then I came over here when I was 20 and I only played for about 4 years. And then I took like a year off. Then I played for a year. Then I took a couple of years off and I played for a year. And then the last time I tried to play, I actually went out when I was in my late 30s. I'm 42 now. I went out in my late 30s and went to a practice and was thinking, like, I have no idea how this is going to go. Like, because I work out, so I know I'm in good shape, but there's a difference between being in good, like, body shape and lifting shape, as opposed to being in rugby shape, where you've got to run, take hits, and there's a lot of recovery involved. So anyway, went out to a practice. Did really well, felt really good, didn't feel slow, felt strong, felt awesome. And then the next day I could barely walk. It was just my hip flexors were just completely shot. And that's the problem. And I've thought about it, I could probably work on it and go back and be foam rolling and, doing whatever it takes. But, I've got kids. I got to make money. I got all this other shit. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. I did a fundraiser for a high school rugby team a couple years ago in Kansas. That was pretty fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It was a small town too. I was surprised they had enough people to form a rugby team.
Yeah, and then who are they playing?
They played schools from Wichita. I know that.
Okay.
But I mean, I can't imagine there being more than 6 or 7 teams in the state. But we were able to raise enough for them to get uniforms for the season, so that was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, last I heard, it was the fastest growing sport in the country, but I'm sure that's changed because that was a bloody long time ago. I don't know. I don't pay any attention to the rugby out here. I just watch the Premiership in England and internationals. Yeah.
So where can people find your rugby podcast?
It's on their phone right now.
Okay.
I took the liberty of uploading it to everybody's. No, I always just say it's on your phone because it's on every single podcasting.
Oh, okay, it is.
So yeah, iTunes,
okay,
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever, or it should be. If it's not, people let me know.
Okay.
At Eddie Stevens with an extra S at the end. That's my Twitter profile.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed you weren't on Facebook anymore.
Yeah, I hate Facebook.
Me too.
It's my all-time least favorite. I do have Facebook Messenger still.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see people,
Oh, I don't blame you, man. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you need as a comic, which sucks.
Oh, yeah, forget it. But I mean, I guess you do because you want to promote as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I didn't have it even when I was doing stand-up for a while because I still had Facebook Messenger. And I felt like as long as I could message people on there, I was going to be okay.
Yeah.
But you're right. I probably was hurting myself.
You were.
Yeah, but who cares? Look what happened.
Yeah.
I knew that the universe would conspire to ruin my stand-up career. And so for that reason, I apologized to the entire world that it had to affect everyone else as well. But just so you know, it was aimed directly at me. Making sure that I was never allowed to continue what I was doing.
And your podcast with AJ, is that on everything too?
Yeah, it's on everything.
And what's that one's called?
It's just the Eddie and AJ podcast. And that is just, if anyone's interested, if anyone's met AJ Martinez, you should definitely listen because it's basically us fighting each other.
I love it.
Like sometimes almost coming to physical blows.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Over all sorts of shit. There's been more than a couple of episodes that never even got started because he had to leave because we were just yelling at each other. And I'm not gonna get into why because it wouldn't be fair on him because it'd just be my side. But sometimes I hate it. Like I hate doing that podcast sometimes, and I'm sure he does too. Yeah, he's weird. He probably likes it, but there's been a few where we're fighting, and I'm like, I'll tell like friends of mine who listen to the podcast, oh, it's terrible. And then they go back to me and say, what are you talking about? That was the best one yet. Because I forget people like the stress and the tension and they don't care if I'm like losing my mind.
Yeah.
It's just entertainment for them. So yeah, it is pretty fun. And again, same thing. I don't know how many listeners we have or anything because I can't check because I'd have to pay and I don't want to.
Yeah.
But it's not enough because I think
you can check.
AJ,
I think you'd be able to check like Apple and stuff like that without paying.
Maybe I'm scared. I don't want to see any reviews.
Yeah.
But AJ and I, admittedly, we don't have healthy egos. But when we will listen to it and go, oh my God, it's the best podcast ever. Sometimes. And actually, I would say I usually hate listening to myself. Like I do not like listening to my rugby podcast. I do not like, a lot of comics are like this, right? I hate listening to my sets, watching my sets back. It's horrible. But I genuinely do quite enjoy listening to a lot of the Eddie and AJ podcasts that we record. Because they're so weird and long that I usually forget what we talked about. And I'm like, oh, that's funny.
I'll have to listen to it. I never see you post anything about it, so I'll.
We only ever put it on Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not on Twitter as much as I used to be.
It was one of those weird things where you have to start somewhere, but I find it difficult to get like gung ho and excited about promoting it. I'm always like, who's even going to see this? Because usually if I put it on Twitter, the only people who like it are me and AJ. So, you know, and as much as I want AJ to listen to it, I don't think it's helping us, you know?
Yeah, when I promote mine on Twitter, I think it gets like 1 or 2 likes every time. It's usually like I like post it on Instagram. Like I'll take like a little clip or whatever and put it on there. I think that helps more than Twitter. I don't know.
I tried Instagram a couple of times. I just feel like I'm terrible at self-promoting. I really am.
Me too, buddy. It's so hard, man.
I said something stupid.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
All right. Well, we hit our 45 minutes. We actually hit 53 minutes.
Oh, thank God.
I know. Right? We did it. Dude,
we did it.
Seriously, thanks so much for taking time to do this, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's funny. I thought I was going to be coming to your house. I forgot I'm not allowed in there.
Yeah.
Because you still live like right down the street from me, right?
Yeah. And this is like the first time we've seen each other in over a year, probably.
Yeah, and I don't know if this counts because I've seen you on computer screens.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. This might not even be you. This might be a deep fake video.
Oh yeah, Curt's he's making a sandwich, getting fatter.
I was gonna make a joke about you being AJ Martinez with the. I'm like,
I'm always so mean to AJ every time I see him. I always make fat jokes to him, and I don't know why. I've always done that ever since I've known him.
Let me tell you something. Well, this is classic bully behavior. Can you hear me? Well, I'm losing you again. Shit.
No, I got you.
Why is it doing this? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's classic bully behavior. Next, you'll be taking AJ's bicycle and taking it apart and punching him in the face. But AJ is a very bitter man. And if he had a problem with you, I would know. And I promise you, he's never complained about you doing that. So keep it up. Just keep doing it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, every time I do it, I'm like, I don't know why I do this. Like, I'm sorry.
You apologize immediately.
But it's just something I've always done for some reason. And I don't know why. And because I've always liked AJ. I always thought he was one of the funniest people in Albuquerque. And
if not the world.
If not the world. I've been around the world and he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
He's very funny.
And he's been nothing but nice to me.
I wish I could say the same.
I know.
Well, just don't try doing a podcast with him. Actually, you should invite him.
No, I want to have him on my podcast, actually.
Yeah.
And I'll just make a bunch of fat jokes and then
and bring me up constantly.
I will, for sure.
I want to know what he really fucking thinks of me.
Oh, absolutely. What if I have him on and I'll have you like sitting right next to me, and then after 10 minutes of him talking shit about you, you just like pop in the screen.
But the other thing is he's Iraq. He gets jealous. He doesn't like people like if I'm hanging out with other friends, I can just send him a picture and go, "You motherfucker!" Like he doesn't like it for some reason, which I find a bit creepy. I think if you bring me up too much to the point where he's like, "Hey, I thought you were interviewing me. Why do we keep talking about Eddie?" And then I just walk in eating a banana or something, just casually.
Or you just pop up from like down here and you're like, "Hey, AJ."
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Okay,
I'll do it if I have to. I was told I'd have to suck a few dicks to,
Well, you don't even have to suck the dick. I mean, just pop up like you were.
I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'll do it.
Might as well make it look realistic.
Yeah, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And we are. But that's great. I'm going to, if this podcast is ending, I'm going to take my children to feed them. I feed them once a week, and it's Wednesday. So I'll feed them. And what am I going to do? I feel like I had something cool to tell you about. No, just porn. Just look at some porn and go to bed.
All right. Sounds great, buddy.
Yep. Well, thanks for having me on, and it was great to
Sure.
see you, even if you are just a hologram or whatever this is. And we got 2 participants. Oh, that's us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thanks, Curt.
Absolutely. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, man. Did you
Okay.
freeze?
Do I
Did
need
you
to hang up, or are you going to hang up?
Oh, it just froze, so it was like
No
really
one's-
weird. I was like, is he gone?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know if we were going to do that thing where you end the podcast and then you're like, okay, cool. Are we still recording? Is this still the podcast?
It's still recording, yeah. I was trying to get
my
like
God,
a,
it's never going to end. It's never going to end.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I've had this happen before.
Yeah.
I have found I'm really bad at ending podcasts, and
Uh-huh.
anytime I'm on someone else's, I make it hard for them to stop.
Okay.
So I'm not going to stop talking. Well, tell me now, when you end the podcast, is the Zoom chat finished, or are we going to say, okay, cool, bye?
I'll just end the recording.
End the recording, the session,
Yeah, and it'll all be gone.
We'll never speak again. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that sounds good.
All right.
I'm gonna leave.
Bye, Eddie.
Okay, bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. As always, if you want to like and subscribe on YouTube, that would be fantastic. Also, if you buy merchandise from my website, funnyfletcher.com, and enter in the promo code in the Rye Podcast, and that's all capitals, no spaces, you'll get 10% off of all your purchases on there. And as always, thank you guys for listening. Thank you to John Singleton from Anesthesia for the outro music. And thank you to Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup for the intro music. Talk to you next time.